Heyo, episode 13, Kevin Thinning stretch, Wednesday, June 10th. We're watching the Knicks get shafted by the Spurs and the refs. No dog in the fight. This has been bad. You're not here for basketball. I don't care about basketball. I don't know why I'm getting so riled up about it. I'm going to stay riled up, though, because I was going to go off baseball, do a little fun intro with something else, because I've gotten notes that people like easing into the podcast with some non-baseball. But I'm riled up today. I'm watching the Nats game, and I mean, we did the podcast last week. I didn't talk too much about what's happening in the MLB right now. The Nationals are fun. I believe in this organization again. I think we're going to be really good in a few years, but it's fun right now. And I told my boy Jaden at work, and I told my brother while we were in the middle of the game that I can't fully buy into this Nats team, even though they're in a playoff spot today. I can't do it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until the All-Star break. That's about a month away. And if they're still in a playoff spot during the All-Star break, I'm ready to be hurt. And at that point, I thought, Nats are going to go back home. They have an off day tomorrow. They play the Mariners at home. They had a 6-game road trip, took 2 out of 3 in Arizona, and they were about to sweep the Giants. They're up 9-1 at the time. They're up 10-1 in the 8th inning. 10-1. 8th inning. The Giants needed 3 outs. They got 5 runs in the 8th inning. 3 outs. On to the 9th inning. 0 outs. Walk-off grand slam. 5 runs in the... I almost lost it. This goes back to the conversation I had on an early episode of, would you rather have a team with expectations? If this team had any expectations and I actually thought they were a playoff team, I might have had a heart attack today. So, I don't know, man. That's a point for my argument of being a fan of a bad team, because that might have saved my life today. I just had to get that off my chest. That was a terrible loss. Terrible loss. But Nats are still fun. I'll talk about them at some point. I'm still kind of waiting to see. I think the offense is just legit. The pitching is just not great. The starting pitching has been better recently, but the bullpen stinks. So I don't think it matters that much. But going back to another thing I think I was right about. There was a news story this week that came out of Boston that there's some people in the Red Sox organization. And if you go back to, it was episode 8, where we talked about the Padres ownership, and we talked about the Red Sox after they fired Alex Cora. I told you that I think they fired the wrong guy. I think Craig Breslow is not a competent GM. There's a story that came out of Boston, I think it was last week. There's some people in the building that believe it would benefit Craig Breslow, the man in charge that runs the baseball team. It would benefit him to have a translator. Now you're asking yourself, does Craig Breslow speak another language? No. Now you're asking yourself, do they mean he needs a translator to speak to the Spanish-speaking players? Nope. They're saying that his communication from the top down is so bad that he could use a middleman that knows how to speak his language. I'm doing air quotes for those of you that are listening on the podcast. I'm going to take it back 1,700 years for you, and don't worry, this will make sense. This is a quote from Aristotle. Think as wise men do, but speak as the common people do. He died 1,700 years ago, and Aristotle knew that Craig Breslow sucked at his job. I mean, it is leadership. It's anything 101. Communication is the biggest thing. Leadership, you need to communicate. And I can't take it because I love the Reds. I love what the Red Sox have cooking. I love so many other players. I've said it before. And you have a guy at the top that can't communicate what he wants to these people, but apparently he's so smart. What's the point of hiring a former baseball player that played in the MLB for a while if he can't relate to the players? What? I don't get it. It makes no sense. Yeah, I don't know. That story comes out and it's just like, yep, we're gonna keep doing this. If he's not fired by the end of this year, I lose all faith in John Henry. I lose all faith in the Red Sox. It's not good, man. I kind of want to tie that into, like I said, the Nationals just lost a heartbreaker to the Giants. Giants won that game, but they lost the series to the Nats, which is kind of where those two teams are. But I want to talk about Buster Posey. I want to talk about if you are a franchise legend, and I'm looking at you, Atlanta Falcons and Matt Ryan. We'll see how that goes. If you are a franchise legend as a player, if you're the owner, if you're the player, don't do the, hey, let me run the team thing. You were a Hall of Fame player. You're a great player. That doesn't mean you can run a team. And now you're at the point with the Giants where the talent on their roster on the big league team, they were starting guys I've never heard of. Even then, they have some good names, right? Matt Chapman, Willie Adames. You got Rafael Devers, Jung-Hoo Lee. There's some good names. Bryce Eldridge looks like he's doing well. Logan Webb. The future is bleak. Any exciting prospects they have are very young. There's nothing close now that Eldridge has graduated and he's a big leaguer. I think Buster Posey's a sitting duck. I think he's going to be there for a couple more years because they have to give him the chance to redeem himself. But I don't think it's going to happen. And then where are you? I know people are smart and they'll be able to separate, hey, this guy was an awesome player. He's a Hall of Fame Giant. He's one of the best. He brought us 3 rings. And hey, he was a bad GM. But where does that, once those two mix, where does that put you? Yeah, you had an awesome career playing and you brought us 3 rings. You also ruined 10 years of Giants baseball. Stop doing this. I don't know, man. I hate doing this because even if it works out, it's like, okay, did he cement his legacy? No, he didn't. I don't know, man. It sucks because now Giants fans have to decide, like, do you want to run him out? Do you want, like, what do you do? How long of a leash does a franchise legend get? So, yeah, I think those two teams are in bad situations. I think for the Red Sox, it's easier to just cut the leash on Breslow. I think that's the problem with the Giants. Like, when do you cut the leash? How much leash do you give? And on the topic of those two, I know I've touched on this multiple times. The Rafael Devers deal, we called the Red Sox dumb for doing it. The Giants might be dumb for doing it. Guess who won the Rafael Devers deal? I'll give you 2 guesses. Because it was between 2 teams. Was it the Red Sox or was it the Giants? The answer is C. It was the Brewers. They ended up with all the good players from the Rafael Devers trade. And actually, sneaky, the Dodgers might have won it too. It's a joke. These 2 franchises are pretty dead. We'll talk about that later. We're going to do a segment of like who's truly dead. Because there's a lot of teams clumped around the dead mark, but some could shoot up out of it. We'll see. I just wanted to touch on those 2 situations, those 2 teams, those 2 GMs, because they're so frustrating, man. Another thing that happened this week is Manny Machado is sick of analytics. I think the easy response would be to joke about his bad season and how, oh, you hate analytics because your numbers stink right now. I wanted to set the record straight on analytics. People just say the word analytics without really thinking of what it means. Analytics are present everywhere. They're present in any business. They're present in whatever research you want to do. They're numbers. They are more information. Analytics is more information. In baseball, it helps you win in the margins, right? It doesn't solve everything. If your team is run poorly, but you look at the analytics and you have all this data and you have all the stats, that's going to help you win a couple more games, but your team's broken, right? If you have a great team and then you apply the analytics, that's when you end up with the Dodgers. That's when you end up with the Brewers. And of course, there's the marriage of spending money and getting superstars that you can't get if you don't spend money and all that good stuff. But analytics is information to win in the margins. I get what Manny Machado's saying. I could understand that if you were a struggling player and you just kept getting fed information. Hey, you're struggling. More information. I could see how that could be an overload of information. So I think he needs to send his message differently. He needs to pick his words differently, because just saying analytics are bad is not the answer in my opinion. But I get what he's saying. I think it's an overreaction to just say, oh, Manny Machado, he's been sucker this year. He's blaming analytics. He didn't use his words right. But I hate the stigma around analytics. It's more information, right? A lot of the successful franchises use a lot of analytics, and they have a big analytics department because that's just more information. And some of these teams that buy into it, they have bad seasons because they use the wrong information. You can have all the information in the world. If you come up with a game plan for how you construct your team, how you're going to go about a series against a different team, how you're going to go about a game plan approaching a lineup or a different pitcher. If you pick the wrong plan, that information means nothing, right? It's not like you're handed a sheet and you go, oh, we're going to throw this hitter sliders. Now we win. You still have to make the right decisions. So it's more information to give you a better chance of making the right decision, but you still have to make the right decisions. That's my rant. Some injury news. We got Cal Raleigh and Tarek Skubal on rehab assignments. Those are two big things for a couple AL teams. As we'll talk about in a minute, the AL stinks. So Mariners more so on the top end of the AL. Like if Raleigh comes back and looks awesome, they then enter like the best team in the AL conversation, which isn't saying too much because there aren't any great teams in the AL. Skubal, he might have to save the Tigers season, or he's probably going to get traded. So that'll be very interesting. A tidbit on Skubal. I was watching MLB Big Inning, which if you're unfamiliar, it's basically MLB's Red Zone, where they show quad box and they just jump around to the games and whatever's interesting at the moment. And they had I believe it's either high A or double A game on. And I was like, what? Why is this on? It was Tarek Skubal's rehab start. Okay, makes sense. You're showing one of the best pitchers in the world on his rehab start. What caught my eye a couple innings in is the movements of the right fielder. And I said, I know those movements. That's my boy, Andrew Soika. Shout out Andrew Soika. Played travel ball with him when I was 12. Played against him in high school. Awesome family. Great dude. He was playing right field. He's been killing it in the Tiger system. He's been awesome. Selfishly, I was like, you know the degrees of separation thing? You know Kevin Bacon from whatever. You get it. I'm 2 degrees separated as a teammate from Tarek Skubal, which means anyone on the Team USA roster from this year, I'm 3 degrees. Bobby Witt? Yup. Roman Anthony, Aaron Judge? Yup. Pretty cool. More so cool for Andrew, because he actually played with Tarek Skubal and he's actually killing it in the minor leagues. I just had to mention that because that's a fun fact for me. Yeah, I don't know. I was having fun with that. But another injury thing, Aaron Judge. It's scary because it's one of those things where we're not going to know the answer for another, month and a half, 2 months. It's a rib, and they got imaging on it. They're going to wait, like I said, month and a half-ish, and then they're going to do imaging again and see where they're at. So as long as he's back for the playoffs, I'd feel good about the Yankees staying afloat with their pitching, with the way Ben Rice is hitting the ball. if he's out for the playoffs, what do you do if you're the Yankees? That lineup can't go without him in the playoffs. So it sucks if you're a Yankees fan because now you're just sitting watching them play okay baseball, and you're not going to know if this. I mean, the season obviously matters, but you're not going to know if you have a real shot until he gets his ribs looked at again. And that just stinks. That stinks for baseball. That stinks for Yankees fans. I hope he's back sooner than later because the AL is very open, and this is a Yankees team that I think could take it very easily with their pitching. And the way Ben Rice is hitting, you put him behind Judge, in front of Judge. I hope he's there for the playoffs, man. Also, last night, the White Sox, if you saw anything about the White Sox game, awesome. They did a 80s retro broadcast with Bob Costas on the call. So sick. The score bug was retro, and it was amazing. The other thing that happened in the White Sox game last night, Braden Montgomery debuted. Before we get to what he did, I want to take you through the 2024 draft because slam dunk, dude. You had a pick in the top 10. Good for you. Let's go. Number 1, Travis Bazzana, killing it for the Guardians right now. Number 2, Chase Burns, striking out the world for the Reds. Number 3, Charlie Condon. Still have to wait and see. He had an injury. I believe it was either last year or the year before. So we're still waiting to see on that. I'm sure the power profile, I think did he set the BB-Core record for home runs in college? If not, it was like one of the best power seasons in college history. I'm sure that's going to work in course, so we'll see. Jury's out on that, but pick 3. Number 4, Nicholas Kurtz for the A's. Heard of him? Number 5, Hagen Smith for the White Sox. Hasn't debuted yet. Should be awesome. Number 6, Jack Caglione for the Royals. Hasn't been amazing, but he'll get there. Number 7, St. Louis Cardinals, J.J. Weatherholt. Kind of the guy that's making this go along with Jordan Walker and making them a fun team to watch and making them a playoff hopeful. Number 8, Christian Moore with the Angels. He got sent down. He looks like an awesome player. If he fails, you can't convince me that him getting rushed through the system doesn't play a fact in that. Number 9. Number 9, Connor Griffin. Looks like a generational talent at number 9. That's good for the Pirates. Number 10, the Nats, Seaver King. 1 pick away from the generational talent. Sad. But Seaver King looked really bad the last couple of years. With the new front office for the Nationals, with the new coaching staff, with the new technology, he looks awesome. Number 11, Bryce Rayner, Tigers shortstop. He came out of high school, so he's not going to debut for a while. He also had an injury. It was last year, so he looks awesome. Braden Montgomery, as we mentioned, just debuted. He's going to have some swing and miss, but tons of pop, switch hitting outfielder. James Tibbs, not mentioned earlier, but hinted at. He is the one that ended up on the Dodgers from the Devers trade. He got drafted by the Giants. He ended up being in the Devers trade back to the Red Sox. He was kind of the main piece, although if you're seeing what he's doing now, you could call Kyle Harrison the main piece. And then, after being the main piece of a Rafael Devers trade, he was traded for 3 months of Dustin May. Good job, Red Sox. But he's been killing it in the Dodgers system. Cam Smith, part of the Kyle Tucker trade, drafted by the Cubs, sent to the Astros. He looks awesome. We're going to skip some. There's obviously some. I'm not going to call them misses yet. The draft was 2 years ago, a little under 2 years ago, so they still have time to develop. But there's guys in here that haven't broken out at the MLB level yet. Theo Gillen for the Rays at 18 looks like an awesome prospect. He was a high school guy. Carson Bench, if you've been watching, he's been awesome for the Mets. Trey Savage for the Blue Jays. Were you watching the postseason last year? You know that name. There's a couple other young guys, yada, yada, yada. Ryan Waldschmidt, if you've been paying attention, Diamondbacks outfielder. got called up. He's been great. And I believe there was one or two more. That's Peyton Tolley, number 50 to the Red Sox. That's what we're going to end on. Although Ryan Sloan went after that. Peyton Tolley has been awesome for the Red Sox. That draft is unreal, man. It's so good. I'm sure there's other good players that Gage Jump just debuted. Whatever. We don't have to keep scrolling. But that draft is unreal. I think next year might line up to be a draft kind of like this, but it's too early to tell. I just wanted to highlight how awesome that draft was because I was looking at it after Braden Montgomery had his debut, and it's just so sick. But in that 80s retro game, Braden Montgomery debuted, and wouldn't you know it, walk-off two-run bomb against the Braves, the best team in baseball so far this year, against Raisel Iglesias, who's been heading the best bullpen for the Braves, who hasn't blown a save, walk-off two-run bomb. Just storytell. It was so cool. The shot with the retro scoreboard and the fireworks and the... Awesome. Good for him. Those were kind of just topics I wanted to talk about. We're going to do just a general synopsis of the standings here. League-wise, you're kind of entering like where football was 4 years ago, where like all the quarterbacks were in the AFC and it just looked like the NFC was the easiest path to a Super Bowl ever. The AL sucks. If I told you before the season started, the AL leaders in each division, the Rays, the White Sox, and okay, the Mariners. But the Mariners are the worst one of the three. The Yankees are doing okay. They're staying afloat, but the Judge thing is whatever. Cleveland, Texas, Toronto, A's. I mean, the teams that you have down here that were supposed to be good. Boston's second from last. Royals above them. Tigers above them. Houston's been bad. Baltimore hasn't been great. It's just sloppy. And if we look at the NL, let's see. The Nationals are the lowest 500. The Nationals, the Nationals, the Diamondbacks, and the Cubs are all one game over 500. And they're one game back of the wild card. The Rangers are in the last wild card spot, and they're 2 games under 500. Hello? There's 4 teams that are missing out on the wild card with a positive record in the NL, and the 3rd team in the AL has a losing record. This is unreal, dude. I'm sure it'll maybe correct, but like, who do you believe in the AL? I don't know. Kind of like I talked about, the NL is sick. You keep waiting for the Braves to maybe cool down a tiny bit. They're going to be great, but like, can they sustain 45-23? Maybe. This is what you expect from the Dodgers, right? 43-25. And then the Brewers just keep doing the damn thing. They're keeping pace with them. Those are the 3 best teams in baseball for my money. And then you have the Cardinals ridiculously outperforming what we thought of them. I think Philly is legit as well. I think the Cubs are legit, and they just have been battling injuries. I think they're a team that's going to go get a starter at the deadline. You got Pittsburgh, San Diego, Arizona, kind of in that same conversation of like, we'll see where they end up. Just infinitely better teams in the NL than there are in the AL, which makes me sad because I want to see the Nationals make a run. Don't think that's going to happen. Yeah. The note I have here is AL is like 5 decent teams, and one of them is the White Sox, which the White Sox have been so fun to watch. But are you gonna pick them to win a playoff series? No, there's no way. All right, we're gonna move on to who is truly dead, because I want to talk about the dead teams and just kind of stop talking about them, if you know what I mean. Let's look at the bottom of the AL first, because we talked about the AL being bad. In last place in the AL, 7 games back in the wild card, which is ridiculous. Only 7 games back in the wild card is ridiculous. The Angels. I'm going to go ahead and declare the Angels dead. That's done. The next team above them, as I think we mentioned earlier, is the Red Sox. 27-39. They've lost 4 in a row. I hate that part of me can't say that they're dead, but they're dead. Just say they're dead. All right. We're going to declare the Red Sox dead. They have too much talent to be this bad, this fast. The next teams above that, KC and Detroit, they have the same record, 28-39. Weirdly, it feels like you can call KC dead. And Detroit with the Scooble stuff, if he comes back, maybe not. But I also believed in KC more before the season, so this is just tough for me. I would go ahead and not call them dead just out of pride, because I think if you were to, I think the Royals would be the one. If anything, I'm going to jump over those two. They're only 3 games out of a wild card. I want to call the Twins dead because I hate the way they operate. And I'm hearing that the owner wants to win the graces of the fans back, so he's not going to deal players at the trade deadline. Hey, we're not going to do what we did last year. Why not? You already sold off. You don't have enough talent. Your farm isn't good enough. Sell. Yeah. So maybe they're not dead because they're not going to sell. But I just think that puts them kind of in Angels land of just incompetence and pick a side. Houston, no. They've been playing better. They have enough pitching. Baltimore, no. Lineup's good enough. A's, they're a half game out, so I can't say that. But I don't think their pitching's good enough. Blue Jays are surging back. Good for them. I think they'll be players for an arm at the deadline. And then you get into the teams that are in the wild card picture right now, so obviously not going to call them dead. And then if you look at the NL, obviously the Rockies are dead. The Giants, for the amount of talent they have, it does. The pitching isn't great though after Webb. So I always say that because you think of Adames, Chapman, Eldridge, Devers. It's not enough. So yeah, we're gonna call the Giants dead. Although a 10-run comeback in the last 2 innings of a game, if nothing else, can really spark a team. So if they're not dead, thanks to the Nationals. Above them is the Mets, which, if you spend that much money on a team, it's really hard to declare you dead June 10th. And I think I'm going to do it. The Mets are dead. Above that, the Reds, 3 games out of a wild card spot. Screw it. Ooh, I almost did it. Hunter Green's coming back. They just can't hit, man. That's tough. Ellie's out. 3 games back. I won't say the Reds are dead. We'll give them some more leash. The Marlins, I almost want to say that, but they are they kill the Nats, so I have respect for them. And then once you get above that, these are teams that are 1 game back. So that kind of, what's the full list? Mets dead, Giants dead, Rockies dead, Angels dead, Boston dead. I reserve the right to call myself an idiot, but I'm going to hold out on Detroit and Kansas City, and we're going to declare the Twins dead. That's your list. Those are the teams that you do not have to care about anymore. To end the show, we got another little movie review time because I saw Obsession last week with the friends, and it was very good. For only a budget of $750K too. Very good. Usually not a big horror guy, scary movie guy. This was like enough of like a good story thriller. Did have some like loud jump scares type stuff, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it did it well and it balanced it well. I'm just so happy that the quality is winning out versus the name power. because these were, if you don't know, Backrooms and Obsession, two horror movies with not big budgets, have been destroying the box office. These were quality movies that were made by creative people with a good idea. There's your movie. And those are demolishing the garbage with a Star Wars sticker slapped on the front of it, slapped right on the poster, and they're destroying Mandalorian and Grogu in the box office, which is awesome. We just need quality movies to win out again. I love going to the movies. I hate watching garbage. So, Obsession was great. I think for what it's doing in the box office, maybe like that much overrated, but fantastic movie. We're really looking forward to the Odyssey. I'm starting to get like very excited for it. Another thing that I'm excited to watch is I had no idea the Spider Noir series was coming out on Amazon Prime. I know it's Nicolas Cage. Is that following like his character from Into the Spider-Verse? I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but I'm excited to watch it. So we'll talk about that. Be honest with you, I'll probably hit a little Toy Story 5 review because great movies. And then we'll talk some Odyssey when that hits. But until those days come, we'll be talking baseball. Should be a show later this week or Sunday. We're going to dive into a topic that we want to talk about. So come back for that. I'll be posting on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter. Follow at KIS Pod, at Kevin Thinning Stretch on Instagram. Go follow those. We're going to be posting more. And thank you for listening. Have a good one.